Look, clearly the Trump administration is completely out of its depth on a lot of different fronts right now. And I want you to imagine having to walk into the White House briefing room today and explain all of that. It's not always easy being Caroline Leavitt, but today seemed especially painful to be Caroline Leavitt. So, to help her out a bit, I thought I would answer some of the questions reporters threw at her today. Let's start with Jasmine Wright from Notice.
A Notice investigation found that the Hallmark Maha Commission report that was released last week cites studies that appear to not exist. We know that because in part we reached out to some of the listed authors who said that they didn't write the studies cited. So I want to ask, does the White House have confidence that the information coming from HHS can be trusted?
One of the biggest lies that Donald Trump has told during his presidency is this idea that somehow the 2024 election was a sweeping victory, a huge mandate for him, when that's just not the case. It was incredibly close. But Donald Trump didn't see it that way. He thought he would enjoy popular support throughout his term, and that hasn't happened. In fact, quite the opposite. Donald Trump hasn't been able to pass his agenda as he's lost in court. He's lost in Congress. He's lost in the court of public opinion, and it has him losing his mind quite literally. As a new leaked report reveals, Donald Trump is actually losing his mind. And the White House is panicking over this health scandal because there's a couple pieces of news lately that make it all the much worse. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way. And it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we can get into this leaked report, we need a bit of context on it. And that's through some of the losses Trump has suffered lately that Jen Psaki broke down right here.
It has not been a good 24 hours for Donald Trump. It's been a very bad 24 hours for Donald Trump. I mean, last night, a federal court unanimously ruled that Trump's erratic tariff policy is illegal. Surprise, surprise. They said that Trump does not have the authority to just randomly declare tariffs on every country in the world. And then today, another federal judge in a separate case said basically the same thing. Donald Trump cannot unilaterally tariff countries just because he feels like it. Now, those decisions are on hold tonight, and that is thanks in part to a federal appeals court that agreed to take up the case. But this is still a huge loss for Trump. And there are a few issues Trump is fixated on as much as tariffs. And every day the universe is telling him that upending global trade as we know it isn't as easy as he thought it would be. It's hard. And this is not the only issue where Trump is learning that lesson. I mean, who can forget the extremely confident promise about the war in Ukraine that Trump made over and over and over and over again?
I will end that war in one day. It'll take 24 hours. It would be easy. That deal would be easy. It will take me no longer than one day. I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours. 24 hours? 24 hours. Within 24 hours, you watched.
It will be easy. I mean, he repeatedly promised, as you remembered, and you just saw there in all those clips, to end the war in Ukraine in just 24 hours. But here we are, a full 4 months plus into his presidency, and we are still waiting. Because Vladimir Putin has rebuffed his efforts at every turn. So what does Trump say now?
We're going to find out whether or not he's tapping us along or not. And if he is, we'll respond a little bit differently. But it'll take about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Oh, was I supposed to do that 4 months ago? Yeah, I don't know. This Putin guy is really tapping me along. Give me another 2 weeks. You see, just over 4 months into his second term, Donald Trump is learning a lesson that most actual politicians and public servants learn much earlier in their careers. Governing is hard. It's a lot harder than just posting capitalized rants on Truth Social or spouting off for hours at a campaign rally about nonsense. And Trump isn't the only one learning that lesson right now. I mean, last night we learned that Trump's official White House best friend, his best buddy, Elon Musk, is leaving government behind. It's been quite a dramatic rollout from him. And minutes ago, Trump announced he would be holding a farewell press conference with Musk tomorrow, writing on Truth Social, "This will be his last day, but not really, because he will always be with us, helping all the way." Which kind of makes it sound like Trump sending Elon Musk to live on a farm upstate somewhere. It's kind of weird, that phrasing. But remember when Musk first entered the Trump administration, He promised a lot of things, including slashing government spending by $2 trillion. Then he quickly lowered his estimate to $1 trillion. And then a few months later said he would cut only $150 billion. Good times, lots to keep up with there. We've been trying our best. And now, as Musk leaves D.C. and his special government role, it's not even clear he accomplished that. I mean, in an interview with the Washington Post, Musk said, quote, "The federal bureaucracy situation is much worse than I realized. I thought there were problems, but it sure is an uphill battle trying to improve things in D.C., to say the least." Yeah, dude, turns out governing is hard. It's a lot harder than just posting on X or dreaming up ways to slash spending without any care for who it impacts while getting high with Joe Rogan, which is literally something, as you can see on the screen, that he did.
So yeah, MAGA. In case you didn't notice doing your job actually a little bit difficult, the presidency is not just about tweeting and posting and attacking your enemies and using your authority to enrich yourself. Although those are the elements that Donald Trump seems to enjoy the most, you actually have to get stuff done, especially if you control both chambers of Congress. It's so funny that Donald Trump is constantly complaining about the courts and saying that they're holding up his agenda when if you didn't want to be breaking the law, you could just change the law. But because Donald Trump's agenda is so popular, he can't even do that. So in a time in which he should be focused on the future, he's just looking back actually on the past. And there's one great example of that has led to this leaked report that shows how Donald Trump is in the head. And we need some context with this clip right here.
I have a question back on these cuts to the federal workforce. You mentioned you're interested in doing another round of this email. When would you like to see that? What would be the deadline? And this time, would it be mandatory?
I think Elon wants to, and I think it's a good idea because, you know, those people, as I said before, they're on the bubble. You got a lot of people that have not responded, so we're trying to figure out, do they exist? Who are they? And it's possible that a lot of those people will be actually fired. And if that happened, that's okay, because that's what we're trying to do. This country has gotten bloated and fat and disgusting and incompetently run. I think we had the worst president in the history of our country. He just left office. I think he's a disgrace, what he's done to our country by allowing millions of people to come into our country like that. And all of the other things, the inflation, which he caused because of energy and stupid spending, to spend hundreds of millions, trillions and trillions of dollars on the Green New scam, a total scam. I have the best energy people, the best environmental people in the world around this table, and they can't even believe he got away with it. And then in leaving office to send $20 billion here and $20 million there and 10 million and 5 million, and they couldn't spend the money fast enough, and let's get it out before Trump gets in, let's just get it out to anybody. This is a disgrace to our nation, and you don't write the fair thing, but look, you know, the good news, the people see it, and that's why we won the election by so much. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you guys. Out right back here.
Thank you. Thank you.
The man is obsessed with an interview from almost a year ago. That is what's on Donald Trump's mind. And clearly, what's on Donald Trump's mind is not a lot. According to this leaked report right here, Trump suffered mental anguish from disputed CBS News interview with Harris lawyer says Donald Trump suffered mental anguish from CBS News's editing of a 60 Minutes interview with Democratic opponent VP Harris last fall. His lawyers are arguing in court papers Trump's status as a content creator was also damaged by attention given to the interview. Lawyers said it was part of their argument opposing CBS parent Paramount Global's effort to dismiss the president's $20 billion lawsuit against the company filed Wednesday in Amarillo, Texas. Trump has claimed the editing was done to the advantage of Harris, which CBS rejects. This also comes as the Kremlin dismisses Donald Trump's remarks about Vladimir Putin as emotional overload after Russia recorded strikes on Ukraine. This also comes as new reporting reveals that Elon Musk has been known to heavily abuse drugs. Mr. Musk's drug consumption went well beyond occasional use. He told people he was taking so much ketamine that it was affecting his bladder, a known effect of chronic use. He took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms, and he traveled with a daily medication box that held about 20 pills, including ones with markings of the stimulant Adderall, according to a photo of the box and people who have seen it. So it's all a disaster within the Trump administration. We have a president who is in cognitive decline, suffering from mental failure and exhaustion, as what he freaks out over an interview from a year ago. That's what the president of the United States is focused on. And even world leaders are saying it now, that he doesn't have the mental or emotional capacity to do the job as leader of the free world. Does that not scare anyone? And that a second-hand guy is constantly like out of his mind on drugs. What is happening? What happened to the competent new Trump that was promised at the beginning of this administration? And that's why it's so important to go back to these first few weeks when it was being pitched to us that this was an administration about meritocracy, and that this was a new Donald Trump and things were going to be done differently because he had so much support. It was never true. But I feel like still so many are holding on to this idea. They believe Trump would be powerful or different, and it's just not the case. He is weak, he is feeble, and now more than ever is the time to oppose him, especially as they're just kind of floundering. They can't respond. They are struggling. Even their lies don't work, as Jen Psaki broke down, kind of mocking Carolyn Levitt right here.
You know, Jasmine, that's a really good and thorough question. I don't usually do this, but I kind of want to see how Caroline answered that one.
Yes, we have complete confidence in Secretary Kennedy and his team at HHS. I understand there were some formatting issues with the Maha report that are being addressed.
I've heard a lot of things in my time, a lot. But formatting issues? Seriously? That's the best you could come up with? That was what was spit out of the system to come up with what she should say about the story? They put out a report that was full of errors, with broken links, and 7 of the sources they cited don't exist at all. And not for nothing, they also just canceled a $600 billion contract to develop an mRNA vaccine for bird flu, while at the same time trying to import ostriches exposed to bird flu to Dr. Oz's ranch. I am not making that up. That is what HHS is up to these days. Okay, I think we can all agree here Caroline's answer wasn't exactly great on that one, but I'm going to take the rest of it from here. All right, Peter Ducey, good to see you, my friend. What do you got today?
So the courts are basically telling you guys they think that the White House's policies, the president's policies, are in some way against the law. So why can't President Trump ask the Republicans that control the House and the Republicans that control the Senate just to make a new law?
Well, Peter, as I often like to say to you, there is a lot to unpack there. I'm just going to start with the fact that judges are only telling the White House that their policies are against the law because, well, their policies are against the law. And the panel on the tariff decision was unanimous and included a judge Trump appointed himself. And on your second point, he absolutely could ask Republicans in Congress to pass a bill implementing sweeping tariffs. If they did that, that would actually be a legal route. But not even a Republican-controlled Congress that's under the thumb of Trump would really want to do that, because these nonsensical tariffs are wildly damaging to the economy. Just ask basically any business and anyone on Wall Street, and wildly unpopular among the public, including the people who send them to office. Okay, Weijia Zhang from CBS News. What's on your mind today?
President Trump was asked what he thought about Elon Musk's claim that the big, beautiful bill increases the budget deficit and undermines the work of DOJ. And the president didn't actually comment on those remarks. He just talked about the need to support the bill. So what does the president think about what Elon Musk said?
Well, frankly, Weijia, he is probably pretty annoyed and probably pretty pissed off. But you can't say that out loud. He can't say that out loud about a guy who spent $250 million to get him elected and who still holds massive sway inside the party, primarily because he's the richest man in the world. So until Trump decides, which he may at some point, who knows, that he would rather have Musk outside of his political tent rather than inside, he's probably going to stay very quiet on what he thinks about anything Elon Musk says, which I bet Elon Musk also knows. All right, we have time for one more. Kristen Holmes from CNN.
President Trump said that he needed 1.5 to 2 weeks to determine whether or not he believed Vladimir Putin wanted peace. He has been in office now for 4 months. What does he believe is going to happen in the next 1.5 to 2 weeks that would change his opinion?
Kristen, you know well that Donald Trump loves to say things are coming in 2 weeks. I mean, it's sort of a tick of sorts. I can't tell you how many times nothing actually comes in 2 weeks. And when it comes to Putin and Russia in particular, Trump is in kind of a bind here because his strongman role model is ghosting him. So for Trump, there really are no good answers. But I suspect he's hoping that if he can just keep punting this down the road, 2 weeks at a time, say, because he loves to say 2 weeks, perhaps maybe you and your colleagues will get distracted and start focusing on something else that he's attempting to distract you with. But here's the thing. The American people see what's happening. They see what's happening on Russia and with tariffs and with Elon Musk and with RFK Jr. and with every abject failure coming out of this administration. Which means that right now, the opening for a political opposition for Democrats.
The White House knows how bad things are, and they know they can't really cover themselves. Now is the time to be opposing Donald Trump more than ever. We have to be using our voices and our agency, and we're certainly going to be doing so on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.